You're tuned into the It's Real podcast with your hosts, Kayla Andrew and Andrew Yagi. Each week, we'll talk about what happens behind the scenes working full-time in real estate and share with you real-life stories, our successes and failures as we work to help consumers and industry professionals reach their real estate and real-life goals. Here we go. Welcome to episode 8 of the It's Real podcast. I'm Andrew Yagi and I'm a real estate agent.
And I'm Kayla Andrew and I'm a mortgage lender.
Kayla, how's it going today?
Well, I feel like every time you ask me that, I talk about the weather. And so it's going great. It's warming up. It feels like spring, actually.
Right.
You can feel the sun on your skin and your hair. It just feels so good. And it puts everybody in a better...
And there you freeze. Speaking of weather and the like, still some freezing weather despite, I think it's supposed to be maybe 65 degrees today, but we'll get Kayla back. Oh, there you are.
I'm just, here and there today, I guess.
You froze, so I said, speaking of weather, even though the weather's nice, I guess there still is something's freezing somewhere.
Or must be a snowstorm coming. Who knows? It is only April 11th today that we're recording this, so...
Hey, how was your Easter weekend?
It was wonderful. I think it makes a difference, like we said, when the weather warms up, but we hosted. I got back from a trip and got back and hosted family and friends. So we call everybody family at the calendar.
And looks like even the dogs were a little bit festive too, Kayla?
They were, and they had a friend over yesterday. That's Ambush. The 4 are mine, and then they had a friend over, but they love their bunny ears. Actually,
Sure.
Not at all, but even they got some treats. I don't know if you've ever heard of Three Dog Bakery in Fargo, but
Not.
by golly, they've got the cutest, amazing things for dogs, for pets. So if anyone, not really a plug for Three Dog Bakery, but kind of a plug, go check them out. They had Easter brunch for dogs. It's just really cool. So
Neat.
All the things. How was your Easter?
Yeah, our Easter was good. Went to Thief River Falls, my hometown, and actually got together with family. Kind of a rare instance when all of my siblings and everyone was all together. So yeah, it was a really, really great time. Nice to get away.
Yeah.
And see some family.
Yeah, awesome. Well, and I feel like this time of year, your Easter egg hunt is either in the snow completely or it's on green grass. It just depends on the year, right?
Well, it was mostly in the basement this year for the kids. In fact, I feel bad. Our Kiwanis group in Fergus Falls, where I'm at, we usually have an Easter egg hunt and kind of a children's event every year. And the Easter egg hunt did not go this year because it's generally outside in the park, which was too bad because it's kind of a fun event to do. But
yeah.
Boy, it's been feels like 100 years of winter.
I know. Well, I saw in Minneapolis this week, I think today they're going to get around 80, 83. Wow. So bring it on because we know what happens when it warms up.
That's right. Absolutely. We're looking forward to it and actually starting to see, I don't know about you, Kayla, but I'm starting to see the market really pick up, especially with lakeshore property, but just properties across the board. Like we've been sitting around and periodically listing a property or working with a buyer, getting something accepted, but not a lot of inventory. The last week we listed 8 properties in our office and, a handful being commercial and then quite a number of residential and some lakeshore as well. So it's really, really fun to see that just because, again, most of us and yourself included, you've been churning out a ton of pre-approval letters of buyers for days and nothing for them to buy.
Yeah, I think you're spot on because what I gauge the market on is activity up front, right? So I might have a full pipeline of clients, 5 to 10 loans closing in a couple of weeks. Wow, my pipeline is full. For some people, it's not at all. But the reason I say that is that's all well and fine. But what are you doing in your activity today? What are you seeing today? And for my team, we've had a ton of applications come in. And on top of it, a ton of approvals, which is the best because we put in all the work. We, really work closely with that client to get them approved. And so it's really wonderful to be able to say, hey, you've applied, you've done all of this, now go look for a home versus, hey, you've done this, you're going to have to wait. So we're seeing a lot of applications and a lot of people getting approved so that they're set up to take that next step to go start looking at homes.
Yep. And that's actually kind of our main topic today, Kayla, just kind of talking
Mhm,
about, especially the lending piece and even agent
mhm,
lender relationships and why
mhm,
it's so important, to have a good relationship, between real estate agents and a lender. And
mhm,
I'll just lead off actually a story from this weekend where I've been working with these buyers for quite a number of months. I've had them, sign a representation agreement. They came. Usually we try, if a buyer's really serious and they want to be successful, we try to get them to come into our office
mhm.
and visit with us in person, put a plan in place, get
Right.
some of our paperwork out of the way, and just really get to know them and their real estate goals. And so, one of these individuals, they've been looking around. They've shopped a few lenders, and I know they've been pre-approved. We've been looking, but they decided to start working with someone who I'm guessing had some better terms. And hey, Saturday I needed this lender, and I don't do a lot of business with this particular lender,
Mhm,
we'll connect periodically, and I was able to reach out to him on Saturday, get a letter of pre-approval, actually get some clarification from him on a few
mhm,
points pertaining the loan, which was really great because as first-time home buyers,
mhm.
they weren't necessarily in tune with what they were doing, and
Right.
if I'm doing my job to represent them completely, I need to make sure that I have a thorough understanding of the particular loan and program that they're using. So really important to have a good relationship with
Mhm.
lenders, Kayla.
You're exactly right. In fact, one of the things that I tell my clients and my partners have learned is my kind of tagline or the things I always say are deals are not done Tuesdays at 2. They're not. We all know that people are typically working. They're usually not looking at homes at that time or writing offers. Normally, they're not. Sometimes they are. But if you're not available as a lender or a realtor, that can be a big issue because time is of the essence. And in this market, especially, we're starting to see it, get heated. So having someone that's accessible now, obviously, we don't see a ton of applications come through on like a Saturday or Sunday. But when they do, if it's important, if they have a house in mind, I don't know about other teams, but my team gets to work. Yes, we have lives. Yes, we're typically doing things on the weekend, events, family, but what matters to me is that the communication is there. Hey, listen, I'm here right now. I'm at, not at home, but when I do, I'm going to make you a priority. And that can be the difference maker in someone getting a home.
Mhm. Yep, yep, you're absolutely right. And I think the other piece, Kayla, it's all about setting expectations. So and especially when we're talking and we're meeting, I try to set expectations,
Mhm.
with my clients and just really breaking it down from, my communication. I'm going to be a great communicator. If we're in the heat of the battle, if there's an emergency, I'm going to be here for you. But if it's not an emergency and it's not something urgent, you're probably not going to hear from me in the
Right.
evening. So I'll chat with you tomorrow. My family is really important to me. And
Right.
I think the same respect goes with lenders. I try to be very careful as
Mhm.
to not waste, the lenders that I work with to waste their time and just really be respectful of that because
Mhm.
I think it's really, really important. But again, important to set those expectations up
Mhm.
front, even with the buyers to kind of let them know like, hey,
Yep.
this doesn't have to be a last minute crisis emergency. If you want to set yourself up for success, which again is part of coming and meeting with us, we're going to have this stuff taken care of well in
Mhm.
advance. So we're not, oh boy, we sell this property Friday at 5 and we need to get an offer in. What
Right.
are we going to do?
Well, and I think that when you look at what people are spending their money on, or the journeys in life that they're only doing once or a few times, I mean, people aren't buying houses every year. It's very, not common, maybe if you're an investor, but for something that is so important, where memories are made, where you're going to spend, many, many holidays with family, your biggest wealth generator, your biggest amount of money put forward, why not take that time? Why rush? So when I have clients that say, "Hey, Kayla, I might not be looking till this fall. Is that okay?" And I say, "Absolutely." A pre-approval letter can last 3 to 4 months. Not that that is the biggest takeaway here, but if you're willing to do the work up front, you're setting yourself up for success.
Yep.
And those are the ones that I see truly getting the home they want, getting the payment that they're desiring, versus, hey, I found a house yesterday. We really like it. We want to get approved. The emergency, the rush can leave openings for errors. And when you're putting that rush on realtors and lenders, we want to be quick. We want to get someone what they want right away, right? Because if we don't, then we feel like we might fail. But like you said, Andy, it's also setting that expectation is, hey, it's going to take me X amount of time to get through this. It's not like a lender is just pulling credit and you're good to go. Sometimes there's multiple properties we need to look at. We need, multiple borrowers, or there's certain scenarios, maybe they're self-employed and they own multiple businesses. So for me, it's the word that I want to get out to everyone is make sure that you're giving yourself enough time, because this process is stressful enough. Do not put any more on you, because it's enough as it is.
Yeah. Kayla, I had a buyer reach out the other day, and we met a number of months ago in my office, and kind of a first time home buyer scenario. And, kind of has been, taking a slow approach, and that's certainly fine. Everyone has to, reach their goals, on their timeline. But we've kept in touch, and I've kind of encouraged this particular buyer to, go out, get pre-approved. And, she said that her advice, and maybe from parents or family or someone else, was, just to wait till, mom and dad come to town, and at which point she can sign whatever it is she needs to sign and whatever. And my advice to her was kind of that probably isn't the best approach. If you're going to if you're going to want to start looking at homes or something comes up, because you talk about that process a little bit, Kayla, because it's not really, if someone's getting pre-approved, they're not really committed to you, are they?
They're not. In fact, I've had times in the past, Andy, where I've spent my Saturday getting someone approved only for that.
Another freeze, Kayla. I think you've got something going with your internet today, but
Am I back now?
yeah, you're back now. So you spent the Saturday getting them approved only
I
to.
gotta keep you hanging. Yeah, you spend your whole Saturday or Sunday or nights or whatever it is, time, right? Your attention to this individual, only for them to say, hey, thanks for the approval. I'm going to go use my uncle who's a lender, but they don't work Saturdays. So thanks. There's that chance. But you want to know what? That's how it is.
Yeah, it's relationships, and I've had buyers come through recently where they go to the bank they've been using forever, and hey, this is our rates, and I'm like, boy, that rate seems a little high. I'd recommend, if you want to use that lender, that's great. Shop at least one other lender, because the terms and the rate and everything. I mean, it can be
Right.
vastly different.
And I think too, Andy, you're adding value by doing that. Clients have tons of lenders to choose from. In fact, the CFPB allows you to shop within a certain time frame without it hurting your credit. And so many people are afraid of that. So as a realtor, you're not pushing a lender on anybody, but you know the value that certain lenders can provide. And you know that if your client's getting a better rate, that means a better payment. It's not all about rate. There's fees in there. Is my lender accessible? Am I going to close on time? But when you do that, Andy, you're adding value, because you know that even could impact their purchase ability.
Sure.
So,
Kayla, one thing that kind of strikes me, as we talk about lenders and relationships, I'm really struck, and again, still kind of the new kid on the block in real estate as far as agents go, but I'm really struck at, fellow agents that just do not have a good grasp of, the products that are available, and even I think probably lack that great relationship. I see it, and so from working with a lot of sellers as well, I need to make sure that I'm looking out for their best interests and really
yeah.
thoroughly explaining, kind of what they're getting into, with a particular type of financing or a particular ask as it pertains to a loan. Or, I just listed a manufactured home. And this particular home, obviously, it was a single wide manufactured, and
Sure.
not every lender has an appetite for that. Although I'm hearing that, Fannie and Freddie are getting a little bit more open to it. It just might be more an issue of finding an investor that,
Exactly.
to purchase that loan. But again, diving into that. And so again, having good relationships with lenders out there, and me working for my sellers is really important too, because I don't want them leading them down, a rabbit hole of, hey, we've got a good offer here, and we get to the 11th hour and oh boy, this underwriter says this isn't going to work.
No, and I think it's important when you're representing your sellers, Andy, the lender on that approval letter matters. If you see, well, let's be biased here. If you see Kayla Calendar on a pre-approval letter, and I'm calling you and saying, "Hi, Andy, I'm representing buyers. I've done all the work. We've had a relationship. They've been through automated underwriting. They're solid. I'm here to help. If we go forward with this purchase, I just want you to know I'm going to be accessible, and here's my information." Versus, "Here's online lender, Andy." I mean, that is a big deal, and it's not just about the buyer, it's about the sellers and the agents as well.
Hmm. Yep,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yep. So I guess really at the end of the day, Kayla, just having great relationships. And again, if you're buying, if you're selling, finding that individual, that dream team, so to speak,
Mhm.
that really has it together and has great relationships. So when things do happen, because things definitely happen, Kayla, in every transaction,
Always.
that there's a little bit of recourse and there's a plan
Mhm.
going forward.
And it's how your team reacts because nothing goes smoothly, but it's how your team handles those hurdles and no matter what, just gets the job done.
Kayla, before we wrap up today, everyone asks all the time, about the housing market and specifically about rates. What
Yeah.
have you been seeing with mortgage rates, and what does the outlook look like?
So what we're seeing on the screen here is a 30-year fixed mortgage rates. This is from Mortgage News Daily. I encourage anybody to take a peek at this website. I love it for consumers, for partners, because it's super simple to watch and see and compare. But as you can see, we're at April 10th, 11th. It's showing here today. But you can see a little bit of a trend. You saw, of course, around March, we saw it declining, then up a little, then decline. And then we got a little nervous because it was going up quite a bit up to March. But as you're seeing, rates are going to fluctuate every day, right? And that's what you're seeing there. If you kind of look at that blue line there, that really kind of shows we're seeing that up and down, but the general trend is down. So
Hmm.
I am hopeful that we will continue to see this, especially throughout quarter three, quarter four, and into the next year. So we're seeing declining rates with a little bit, volatility. However, it's really comforting to be able to tell a client the next day, "Oh, rates came down a little bit, let's lock you." So there's some hope out there for the consumer and everyone in the real estate industry.
Absolutely. No, I'm really hopeful as well. And again, I think, it's really starting to set in the reality for people that, hey, the
Yeah.
likelihood of seeing 2 and 3% rates again is slim to none. And so as people, become more in tune with reality, I think it's helping them reach their goals and helping them find success.
Mhm. I agree. And I think that no matter the market, there's hurdles, there's challenges, there's pros and cons. So find that in the market you're in. And in the meantime, we'll see rates hopefully trend down.
Absolutely. Well, that's a wrap for episode 8 of the It's Real podcast. Kayla, have a great week.
I will. You do the same.
See ya.